Welcome into Paul Catalina's Top 5, brought to you by Texas Beef House. Today, top 5 things that are actually wrong with the Cowboys. Now, people like to point fingers at a lot of different things that are going on with this team, but I'll tell you, here are the 5 things that they need to focus on if they're going to change anything. But let's just face it, life's not fair and things never change. So, again, this is mostly theoretical and pie-in-the-sky nonsense. But number 5, offensive line are likely losing this man. Ring Hall of Famer, all pro, like every great thing you want to say about Zach Martin. It is a shame that players like DeMarcus Ware, who did get to win one in Denver, Jason Witten, and now Zach Martin will all retire without having a Super Bowl with the Cowboys. That's a thing that's going to happen. It's very, very, very sad. But those 3 guys are Hall of Famers. Those 3 guys are people who represented the team so well. But let's look at the current offensive line. They do have some young talent there. Cooper Beebe is going to be very good at center. Tyler Smith's already one of the elite players. Tyler Guyton, probably not a left tackle, more of a right tackle, but he's just a rookie. Terrence Steele, he'll be there. He's fine, but we're not going to write love sonnets about Terrence Steele. And then right guard, this guy's position, will be open. And right now it looks like that could be Brock Hoffman, who played pretty well down the stretch. But that is something that needs to get fixed. They need continuity. They need people playing the right positions that they're going to have. That's a huge thing for the Cowboys moving forward. And before they fix anything else, including that running back position, they need to make sure they've got a good plan on the offensive line. And again, running back is not on here because it's freaking obvious that they don't have a running back. That's an easy problem to solve. You don't have one, go freaking get one. Sorry, I'm yelling. I'm already yelling. We're on number 5. I'm already yelling. I'm sorry. I'm passionate. It's what I am. It's an Italian thing. Number 4, Dak in the playoffs. Dak regular season, perfectly serviceable, wonderful quarterback, does a lot of cool things. When the clock turns to January, the calendar turns to January, this is the Dak you get. This guy needs to go away. And how does this guy go away? You make sure he's the only excuse that you have. But that's not what they've done. They've not given him elite talent at running back for very long. They've not given him a second wide receiver. They've kind of given him some good tight ends. They've kind of given him a good offensive line. They've kind of given him a good defense, but they haven't gone all out for that. They have not done everything they can to maximize the Dak Prescott experiment. And now they're on the hook for $60 million a year for at least the next 2 years before they can even think about getting out of the Dak Prescott business. So the next 2 or 3 years, every single move you make should be about eliminating this Dak right here and turning it into the Dak that you think he can be. This guy, these eyes have to go. You can't have that anymore. And the only way that you're going to be successful in the short term, because Dak Prescott, mark my words, if anybody tells you, if you're watching any kind of talking head from anywhere else that says the Cowboys will move on from Dak Prescott, that year will be 2027 or later. More than likely later. He is not going to be anybody else's quarterback but the Dallas Cowboys. That is a stupid thing that people say. The contract locks him in. It's $100 million in dead money if they trade him, plus he has a full no-trade clause. So they're not trading him to the Browns, because who in their right mind would get traded to the Browns if they had the ability to stop it? Number 3. Lack of identity. Why did I put Parks and Recs and Perkins on here? Well, and Garrett knows this plot line. Emery knows this plot line. For a while on Parks and Rec, Ann Perkins took on the personality of whoever she was dating. Whether it be Andy or Chris Traeger or Tom, like whoever it was, she kind of adopted their personality. And then at one point she decided, I'm going to be my own person. Now, some people think that Jerry Jones is one of one. And in a lot of regards he is. But the problem is the Cowboys are whoever they kind of want to be or whoever they're with at that moment, as opposed to having a full identity of what they want from their defense and adapt well within that. They don't really know. They just kind of hop from system to system. They don't really, they don't stay long enough in one. They don't really develop. They don't necessarily draft specifically for that. The 49ers are a good example of this. They know who they're going to be. They know how they're going to draft players to be in that. The Cowboys just kind of put everything together and hope that it works. But if you have an identity, and even though that has to be updated and changes throughout era, you can stick to that identity. I think the Steelers haven't won a playoff game in so long under a great coach like Mike Tomlin, is that he has slightly changed their identity enough to where they've gotten away from who they are, and that's what they need to be, is the Steelers. Go be a power running team who can win in the cold and has a quarterback who's tougher than nails. That's how you've done in the past. That's how you're going to do it in the future. Cowboys, find balance, make everything about supporting the supporting cast around the quarterback, and everything will work out fine. Number 2, believing their own myths. This is Paul Bunyan. Paul Bunyan was not real, but neither was Babe the Blue Ox. But this is Jerry Jones and how he's running things with the Cowboys in his own mind. But it's been 30 years since they've won a Super Bowl, been to the NFC Championship game, all those things. And part of that is because he believes the myth of he's still that wildcatter. The guy that took the big chance on buying the Cowboys. The guy that took the big chances on throwing caution to the wind with the NFL over the policies. All that stuff worked. But lately, he's been totally risk adverse. He's not chopping down trees. He's letting the forest grow up. This isn't Paul Bunyan. He's not even a lumberjack right now. He used to be. He's not anymore. And that's the thing he's failed to realize, and something I'm not sure he will ever realize. And number 1, Jerry doesn't pay his coaches. The Cowboys, for all the money they have, and the coaches don't count against the salary cap, they do not pay coaches well, which, considering they're the most valuable sports franchise in the world, is pretty shameful. I'm not saying go and break the bank and triple what you're paying a coach, but Jerry has a weird idea about the coach's value to a team. And it's because of the initial Jimmy Johnson thing, which their personal beef is squashed, but the emotional scars still live in Jerry because he didn't get what he felt was proper credit for the Super Bowl wins when Jimmy was there. So, because of this, he doesn't pay coaches because even though he wants them to succeed, he's got a psychological block that makes him want to keep them in their place. And I just don't think that's how the business works anymore. So, Jerry, start paying your coaches a little bit more, and I guarantee you'll get better coaches. Just saying. Pretty simple. You get what you pay for. You get what you pay for. And I can't tell you how many times in my just short 44 years on this earth, I'm barely over a teenager, that I have seen people not understand why they don't get quality when they pay nothing. Jerry, pay an elite coach and you'll get elite results. It's as simple as that.